guys, my name is Emma and welcome to another 360 book review. That's where I talk about a book for 360 seconds and give you a full 360 view of everything about it. Today I'm going to be talking about the Book of M by Peng Sheperd. So this is a post-apocalyptic dystopian fiction with a magical realism twist. It's one of those books that kind of defies genres, and it is Peng Sheperd's debut novel. It tells the story of a world where people start to lose their shadows. And when you lose your shadow, you start to lose your memories. But when you start to lose your memories, the way that you remember the world being rather than the way it actually is starts to then appear in the real world. So if I give you an example of this, if I imagined my partner in the other room who is wearing a white t-shirt, if I forgot that he was wearing a white t-shirt and I didn't have my shadow, and instead I thought that he was wearing a red t-shirt, he would actually then be wearing a red t-shirt in the real world. Now this is fine when it is small details to begin with, but then when people start to forget fairly major things like how houses work or to eat or whether people have mouths or sort of crazy things like that, it starts to have serious ramifications in the world itself. It is the lawlessness of this magic and this kind of way that memory and the reality are interacting that causes this sort of post-apocalyptic event where things start to disappear, buildings start to come alive and fight each other. It all generally goes a bit dramatically wrong. We follow a whole host of characters in this. I can't remember any of their names, I'm terribly sorry, but there's kind of 5 or 6 major ones whose it's like a third person but close point of view, and we follow their varying different stories. There is a couple who get separated. The woman has lost her memory and the guy hasn't, and she goes off in a hope to protect him, but he then goes to try and find her but gets waylaid. And then there is this kind of underlying story of this mythical place, I think it's New Orleans is where they're going to, which is supposed to be kind of the Holy Grail. There's a sanctuary there, there's some kind of great one who they can talk to who might be able to help with the situation. I think it's an absolutely phenomenal book. It's got a really interesting premise, and unlike with so many of these kind of books, I think it actually delivers on it. Its strengths are definitely its characterization and world building. I really felt for all of the characters and I was very invested in every single storyline. There wasn't any one bit that I was like, why we focus on them, I really wish we could focus on the other one instead. And they interweave in really nice natural ways which give you a great way of seeing different the same character from multiple perspectives, both from kind of inside their head but also from others seeing them and the different relationships there. It's really fast paced and has some great plot work in it. There's a lot of different twists and turns, there's a lot happening, but Peng Sheperd keeps a really tight hold on everything that she's doing there. For a debut novel, her technical ability is very impressive in this, and I think that she keeps a handle on what could have definitely been a bit of a runaway book for her. It plays with some really interesting concepts, but it keeps, like I said, like a tight lid on them and keeps it very focused. And I really did like the world building and kind of the magic system, if you can even call it that. Like, it doesn't ever explain why the memory interacts with the world in that way, and that could be a con for you if you do like really explicit world building and explicit magic systems. And in some cases this could have almost been a bit of like a cop-out kind of magic system where it could be used to get you out of any kind of painted into a corner plot problem, but actually Peng uses it in a really intelligent and interesting way where there are serious ramifications for each of the characters who are shadowless if they then like actively try and forget something, and then in doing so, like if you change something in the world, you forget something major about yourself. And there was a really interesting trade-off with that, and being able to use this kind of almost handicap of losing your shadow to your own effect and in like a positive way, but in doing so what that would then cost you, which was really interesting. Some of the cons might be basically, you know, if you're looking for a straight up post-apocalyptic fiction and you don't like all this crazy magic stuff, you're definitely not going to enjoy this book. Also, some of the twists were a little bit obvious to some people who I've talked to about this. I personally didn't see any of them coming and thought that they were all really cool, but I do know that Amy from Amy Gets Lit, we had a conversation about it, and she said she saw something coming a bit of a mile away. So it's something which it depends on how you read books as to whether that's something that's going to bother you or not. I think it's a really interesting jumping off point for a lot of different philosophical discussions as well. A lot of the work that this book is doing talks about personal identity towards the end, and the idea of the continuation of personhood and how we tie that to our memories, but also how we tie that to our physical vessel and physical selves. I won't go into too much detail about that because I don't want to spoil anything for you if you are interested in this book, but it does some really cool stuff towards the end about that. And if that's something that you are interested in, personhood and the continuation of personhood is a huge area in philosophy, where there are a lot of different essays available, a lot of different literature on kind of thought experiments about it, that you could see that Peng Sheperd was definitely heavily influenced by it and was kind of worked into her storyline. I would have liked to see Peng Sheperd explore that a little bit more, but that's because I'm a philosophy nerd who really likes that side of things, and I totally understand that some people wouldn't enjoy a book that went down that road, potentially at the cost of some of the characterization. So I think she treads a really nice line between those two parts of kind of exploring the concept, but also still keeping it grounded and tied to people and a plot that you actually care about. So that's pretty much it from me. I think this is a great book, and I would really recommend it to loads of people. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It was 5 stars. It's a new favourite read, and I would recommend it to everybody. So yes, I hope you have a wonderful reading week, and I will chat to you soon. Bye guys.